breaking news out of South Austin. A major fire. Firefighters arrived at the scene to find heavy smoke and discovered that there were combustible products inside the building.
Part of Austin's South Congress Avenue shut down as a two-alarm fire in a vacant commercial building kept firefighters in the capital city busy for hours. There was $500,000 in damage. Just an hour and a half later, fire broke out in this now empty bike shop in downtown Austin. According to this affidavit we've obtained from an Austin Fire Department investigator, the lock had been drilled out of the front door. Liquid had been spread in several places.
He's also observed striking multiple matches and dropping the match onto the liquid that he had previously poured, which ignites the fire.
How do fire investigators know so much detail?
We recovered some security video that was pretty vital. Through some additional investigative steps, we were able to identify a person of interest.
Hours later, DPS got their man, and it was a shocker in the capital city.
At CAG, we have 3 core values.
It was one of the state's biggest car dealers, 75-year-old Bryan Hardeman, now charged with multiple felonies, burglary, arson.
He's currently been charged with the second-degree felony arson, which that carries 2 to 20 years. And then he's also been charged with state jail felony burglary.
This is his mugshot. Hardeman hasn't been charged with the 4917 fire, at least not yet. Austin fire investigators didn't make the connection at first, but our folks, we noticed an immediate connection. The 4917 property is owned by 4811 Soco LP, an entity controlled by Hardeman's family, managed by a guy named Justin Bain. They also own 4811 South Congress, just a block away. Austin firefighters were called there twice in February. An affidavit calls Hardeman a person of interest in at least one of those fires. There was a fire on the 17th of February, another on the 20th, 3 days later. Both were declared arson. The day after that second fire, Mr. Hardeman filed for divorce after 43 years of marriage.
I don't give a shit.
But our viewers have seen Hardeman before as part of our Austin real estate investigation.
And you're not accepting the funds. We have tender payment in full. You don't care? You're not accepting it.
Companies linked to Hardeman have been accused of illegally seizing properties owned by another Austin developer you've seen in the news too, Nate Paul. And his lawyer is now reacting to Hardeman's arrest.
Well, it crushes his credibility.
Hardeman and associates bought the loans Paul had gotten behind on and then foreclosed on the properties. Ugly foreclosure sales during COVID that were captured on video.
Fucking amount due, motherfucker. We've tendered the amount due.
On camera, we saw Paul trying to pay off the loans before the foreclosure, which by Texas law you're allowed to do. But he was denied the chance to do it by Hardeman, caught on camera. Here's a Dolcefino Media flashback. There was something Bryan Hardeman said on videotape that day that we especially wanted to save. His confidence about what would happen if Nate Paul tried to sue him in this building. Listen very carefully.
Go around and go find you a court in this building to come and stop this.
Okay.
Why don't you try that?
Maybe he believes he's above the law, or maybe he believes that he's got friends in the courthouse. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see what happens.
It led us to an ongoing investigation into whether justice being dispensed in the Travis County Courthouse can be bought. And it looks like Hardeman had reasons to brag. His lawyers have donated at least $20,000 to Judge Jan Soifer, a lot of it during the Hardeman-Paul legal fight. Since our video questioning her legal calls, $7,000 more. Another $11,000 to Judge Amy Meacham. Those 2 liberal Democratic judges have issued a lot of rulings that helped Hardeman's companies. Maybe it's a way of getting back at Attorney General Ken Paxton. His relationship with Paul led to that failed impeachment. Now that Hardeman is accused of burglary and arson, voters should watch future court rulings very closely.
Anybody that would do what he's alleged to have done would certainly try to steal property from Nate Paul in the courthouse.
2 of the Austin arson fires happened at a mobile home park at 4811 South Congress, which is mired in litigation since that foreclosure we got on tape from May of 2021.
So,
The guy who won that bid was infamous Houston real estate developer Ali Chowdhury, but the property ended up instead being owned by Hardeman's associates, his family. Chowdhury has sued. So has Nate Paul. The litigation yet to be resolved. But Hardeman's credibility as a witness going forward has certainly taken a big hit. Hardeman's arson arrest is fueling renewed interest in what we first told you 2 years ago. Evidence Hardeman and his car companies may have used PPP loans improperly. More than $10 million in government COVID loans. Listen to this curious timing. On the very same day Hardeman's car companies got that government loan, records from the Texas Secretary of State show a company was formed called Colorado 3rd Street LLC. On paper, the company is owned by this guy, Justin Bain. 2 weeks later, that same company bought the loans owed by Paul's companies on the Capitol Grill building. But where did Justin Bain get all the money to pull the trigger on the deal? We followed the money. The funding for Colorado 3rd Street LLC was provided by Austin Infinity and Continental Cars, two dealerships owned by Bryan Hardeman's family, the same car dealerships that needed all those millions to supposedly pay employees and got COVID money to do it. Hardeman's been asked about the money before in a sworn deposition.
Do you know if any of those funds were used ultimately to flow into La Zona Rio?
Oh, I doubt it.
You doubt it? Who would be able to tell that?
Nobody would be able to.
The big question, will the arson investigations now broaden into Hardeman's controversial real estate dealings? Does Nate Paul feel vindicated?
Not yet. No, not yet. Time will come. This is all part of what he's been saying for all this time, is that the real bad guys are on the other side of the case, not Nate.